So this is a good friend of mine, Ben Stewart. I've known him probably as long as I've known anybody aside from the people from high school. Ben is, well, I don't want to say too much, but I will say this. Whenever I post any sort of promotional thing or any sort of cool thing on any social media, 9 times out of 10, this guy is the first one to chime in and say, hey, that's awesome. Like, you might be the happiest person I've ever met all the time. And I would love to know what the secret is, because I am not. So, anyway.
Orange juice.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
So, real quick, tell us who you are and what you do.
So my name is Ben Stewart. I also go by the name Benji Phonic, and I've also been known as Shredhammer, and I've been known as a lot of different names. I'm primarily a musician. I do independent music. I do everything from hip hop to alternative rock to dabbling in country music, which is weird. And then I also do scoring for video games and movies. And so I've been a musician in the Inland Empire for almost 30 years. A long time, too long. It's been a long time. Fun fact, one of the first times I met your teacher, he was rocking a guitar on a bar. He was like, what? And like shredding a solo in a band called Stillwater Black. You can ask him about it.
Funny.
It's pretty awesome.
I forgot about
UCR.
Was that where it was?
Yeah, it was.
And Mickey Finn's or something?
Yeah, it was Mickey Finn's.
That's hilarious.
So, and that was in the 90s. We had bad haircuts. It was good. I don't have any haircut now. It went away.
You want to hear something depressing?
Yeah.
When were you born? What year? 07.
07?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We got old.
I have shoes older than you. Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, basically you do a little bit of everything. How did you get started?
I got started, so I was a late bloomer, guys. Started like I think it was senior year of high school. I got my first guitar, and I was awesome from the get-go. I was not awesome. I was really bad. In fact, we were talking earlier about, like, he was showing me some of your art, like from and some of the other students' art from the books that you guys have put together. I wish I was that good when I started. I was really not. It was pretty bad. I was singing bad songs. But I started in high school as a senior. We had a guitar class at my school. I got into that guitar class, and there were real shredders in that class. I mean, really good musicians, and they taught me actually how to play guitar. So when I went into college, I started playing in bands, and I ended up really lucky. I got into a band called Conspiracy of Thought, and I was in that band for 15 years. We toured around the country. We got on radio stations, and that's the band I was playing in when I met Mr. Thayer.
Very heavy.
Yeah, it was good stuff, and that was my jump point. But not many people are in a band for 15 years. It was a unique situation, and we did 6 full-length albums and demos and all kinds of cool stuff, and again touring, which was really awesome. From that point, I wrote a rock opera, because that's what you do after. That's like your midlife crisis. You played in a band, you did all this stuff, and then you write a rock opera. Would you like to demonstrate like some opera for me? No, don't do it. Okay, I take it back. Who's heard of a game called Overwatch? Or World of Warcraft? Or so after I did the rock opera phase, I started working as a contractor for Blizzard Entertainment. So which was Overwatch, which was World of Warcraft, Diablo, it was Heroes of the Storm, it was Hearthstone, all of that. And this is just before they merged with Activision, so it was Blizzard Activision, which of course is Call of Duty and everything else that goes with it. And so what they had me do was they had a contest every time they had a convention called BlizzCon, which is down in Anaheim. And they had a songwriting competition, and a friend of mine said, hey, we're musicians and we're good. Let's write some songs about World of Warcraft, and then we'll see if we win. and we wrote some songs and we won. And as a result, that was in 2011. As a result, Blizzard then started hiring us as a band to perform at their conventions. And we played it in Germany for them, at Gamescom, which is 150,000 people. It's the largest video game convention in the world. And BlizzCon and San Diego Comic-Con. But the thing was this, we had to wear armor. So we were all wearing leather armor and we smelled like a saddle, like on a horse. And we were awesome. And we did melt some faces because we were rocking. That was good. So that was the Mighty Songhammer, and we wrote music about World of Warcraft, about StarCraft, about Overwatch. In fact, when Overwatch first came out, before, when it was in beta, they had us come in and we were wearing armor. We went onto the Blizzard campus, which is in Orange County, and they had us play against their dev team, the development team, and they just annihilated us. They destroyed us. It was pretty awesome. But we were doing research for a song called Overwatch, which we then got to play in Germany, at Gamescom in Germany. And we were considered what's called a third-party contractor, which means the company, we weren't employees of Blizzard Entertainment. Yeah, so that's me playing on stage. And this is at BlizzCon, actually. We're on the main stage of BlizzCon. There was 25,000 people at that show. And actually that one was televised, so it was on DirecTV to 150 countries. So it was big, it was pretty darn cool. And that was a 7-year project. So we did that for 7 years, doing work all the way up until they became Blizzard Activision, the behemoth that we know today. And then after that, so I had done, that was a project where we did like rock and pop and all kinds of stuff. We dabbled in hip hop a little bit, and in a lot of my projects, including Conspiracy of Thought, the first band I played in, we dabbled in hip hop as well. We had a guy who played bass and rapped. It was kind of like Linkin Park. You guys are familiar. And so I just decided after the Blizzard thing that I was going to do a project that was solely dedicated to doing old school hip hop stuff. And when I say old school, I'm talking about the 1980s, where we wore hats a little bit sideways like this, and we had some fresh red pants and green shirts, and we were Technicolor. It was awesome. So, have you ever heard of a group called Run DMC? No. Have you ever heard of LL Cool J, who's actually making a comeback right now? Because he's doing the song with Eminem recently that was actually going viral. It's very good. But these are old artists, like beginning hip hop artists, and that's what I started listening to. So I wanted to do a project that was like super cheesy, super lame, but super fun. And that's where Benjiphonic started. And now with Benjiphonic, I've actually scored 2 movies as well under Benjiphonic. I work currently for a video game company called Lethos that does mobile games, and so I've scored 2 different mobile games, one called Lightbite, another called Clickbait. And they're cheesy, funny little games that are really easy, and they're actually using in both of those games, they're using Benjiphonic music that I've already written, as well as score that I've written.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that kind of takes you up to speed to what I'm doing now. Oh, I was on the radio on Tuesday, that was yesterday, or 2 days ago, on KBCR, so it's 91.9 FM here in the Inland Empire.
And I think these guys just watched the video with Dave Fleming where he was talking about Steve Vai. And
Oh, right.
you may have not watched it yet.
Yeah, it's our local NPR station. So it's the local public radio station, but we just together, David Fleming and I, who's the guy at that radio station, we just launched the music video for this song. Actually, a girl named Disco, that's Disco, and that's me, if you didn't notice.
Disco, disco. Disco, disco.
Front, back, side to side, doing the funk, the electric slide.
Shake that groove thing on the floor.
Moves that your brother never seen before. Fever hot in a rainbow dream.
Y'all get funky.
Yes, my queen, free to love, free to live. We're free to move and we're free to give. I feel disco in my head, in my hips, in my heart. I feel disco in my head, in my hips, in my heart. I feel disco.
I feel disco.
Everybody in the club's been falling in love.
With disco.
So they got a taste
Now you
of
recognize me.
a little bit of all of your videos yesterday because I messed up and got the date wrong.
Oh.
And I thought you were coming yesterday. So we spent the day listening to all
Oh,
your
cool.
or not all of them, but a lot of the different videos. So they got a nice breadth of Benji Phonics stuff yesterday. So they're familiar.
So that's kind of the overview. This song right now is on like a radio station that's in Wyoming. Just played the song yesterday. There's a station out of Northford, or wait, no, what is it? It's North Carolina that's been playing it. There's stations here in Southern California that are playing it. A station on Australia just picked it up, and one in England. And so it's starting to make the rounds, which is really cool.
So in essence, you're basically living the dream on some level. No, but you are.
Yeah.
Because what is your job?
I have a hard job, guys. It's a 9 to 5. No, it's not. Actually, you can attest to this. So I'm an independent musician, which means that I have a home studio that I have at home. Everything I record, I use Logic Pro for recording, and that includes all of the Benji Phonics stuff, all of the Songhammer stuff that I recorded at home, which was programming drums, which was bass, guitars, keyboards, vocals, everything. And then also doing all the artwork there for it.
What do you use for that?
I'm a cheapskate, guys. I don't like to spend money. That's why I do everything. So I actually use Pixlr, which is an online free Photoshop. And there are limitations with that, so I have to stick within the limitations.
Right.
But all of the artwork I do there, you can save the Pixlr files here, so I can go back in and open them again. But I like to work with what's free, and I actually enjoy limitations because it pushes me to be, I feel like, a better artist.
These guys have access. They've been using Photopea, which is basically
it's
Photoshop.
Like, that is totally like Pixlr,
Yeah.
or Photoshop,
Yeah. What's the daily grind like for you? Like, what do you do in an average day?
So.
Because this is your job.
Yeah, you're right. So my wife is also a teacher. She teaches in Riverside. She teaches TK, which is like transitional kinder, which is a lot like preschool, basically.
It's herding cats, basically.
Oh, it totally is. They come in at 4 and change, and they are ankle biters. It's pretty awesome. They're peeing themselves. I hope you guys aren't having that problem. I heard it over there. No, I'm kidding. Everyone was looking. I was not pointing at anyone. I just like to say. So I get up at around 6 in the morning. I basically make breakfast. Oh, I'm the cook. I'm a housewife, by and large.
House husband.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we call it what we call it.
All right.
And so I cook, I clean, I do all that. I make a mean lasagna from scratch with Italian tomatoes. I don't know why I did this gesture, but it looked good.
Yeah.
And then once my wife is off to work, which is around 7 o'clock, I basically, do some exercise in the morning, eat breakfast, but by 8 a.m. in the morning, I'm on the computer and I'm either recording music, working on art. All of the music videos that I put out, I edit myself. And so I use Final Cut Pro, and So I'm either editing a video, I'm sending out, like this song, a great example is 2 weeks ago, I sent out 135 press releases to radio stations across the world that all have either played my music before or that have the potential to play my music. And that's my day. My day is consisting of music, artwork, editing, and I basically work from the point that I start all the way until my wife will get home, or until I have to start prepping dinner, which is usually around 5 o'clock. So it is literally a 9 to 5, 8 to 5, working at home. And that includes work for Lithos, which is the video game company that I do music for.
I mean, it sounds pretty awesome. It sounds like a dream, but it's work, right?
It is both. It is awesome, it is very cool, but there are times where, and I think Mr. Thayer can attest to this as well, when you're recording at home, when you work at home, when you do that, you're it. So I don't have anyone to pass the buck to. I don't have anyone to say, oh, I need you to do this, I need you to do this. It's all me. And so A, it can be a little lonely, and B, it's all on me. Meaning the responsibilities, the time, which means I have to be very, tight with my schedule. And it is work, but it is pretty awesome. and actually, Mr. Thayer said something earlier, and he was talking about being happy or doing that. And I think that figuring out happiness in doing art and doing work there's a few things you have to do. You have to adjust your expectations, meaning you're not going to be rich. The most of us are not, 2 Chainz. The most of us are not, some huge, phenomenal rapper or some, excellent artist or movie star. Most of us are working 2 jobs a lot of the time. Actually, a great example, and I would consider you way more than 2 jobs because you do so many other things. And so when you're an independent artist, you are working really hard, and your motivation cannot be, I'm going to be famous. Your motivation has to be, I love making this art. This is awesome. And if that's not it, then you're not going to be happy. Actually, you'll be bitter. And so my joy comes from creating the art, getting it out, seeing people react to it, and being able to communicate with other people. And I love to perform as well. So
These guys got a taste of it. At least some of them did last year, where they got to put out their own children's books and then went to the convention and got to sell it to people and interact with them.
That's cool.
And it's a whole different thing when you're in here working and you're making something, but when that moment you share it with somebody and they think it's cool enough that they actually buy it.
Right.
Like that's a moment that you cannot buy that kind of thing.
Right.
You basically have to earn that. And that's, I think, for a lot of performers and a lot of artists, that's not the drug, but that's the high that you get
Right.
from creating, is having
worth
that,
the payoff.
sharing it with a payoff. You share it with somebody else and they love it to a point where like they're willing to pay money for that. That's a lot of the reason why we do what we do, is that connection with somebody else. What would you say are the pros? I mean, we kind of know the pros. What would you say are the cons
That's good.
of this lifestyle?
One of the cons about being an independent musician, an independent artist, is just that maybe the biggest one is there's not a lot of money involved. We don't make we don't make a lot of money, and especially with the advent of streaming services, which streaming services are awesome, like Spotify, Apple Music, all the different streaming services that we might listen to, Pandora, whatever you're using. But they just don't pay us. They don't pay artists like Mr. Thayer and I. So we put out music, and I used to, when I was playing in that band Conspiracy of Thought, we were making hundreds and hundreds of dollars selling CDs. Every month we would make several $100 up into the thousands of dollars a year selling CDs. Now it would take us years. So a great example is Pharrell Williams was talking to an interviewer at NPR. They asked him, hey, you know, how much have you made on the song Happy? You've heard Happy, right? You know? 'Cause I'm happy. Have you heard it? You guys did? I just dancing for you. Come on, man. So Pharrell basically sells that. I don't know how many streams. It was like 500 million streams or something like that. He said, and he made like, I think 30 grand or something like that from that. 500 million, and he didn't make he made a certain amount. Well, had those been singles, like CD singles, he would have been a multi-millionaire. Like just the one song would have made him a multi-millionaire. And now, and that's Pharrell. So me, who's not getting near 500 million streams on a song, I'm just not going to be making money selling music. So again,
you get the monthly or quarterly check for your streams.
Yeah. If you get, I mean, it's pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
And
like I'm getting like a $25 check every 3 months or something.
Right.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
And I get ASCAP checks as well.
Right.
Actually, so I make more from scoring movies and video games than I do from making original music for like to perform with or that kind of stuff. That's where money is made. But when you were asking about the downsides, that's one of the downsides. Another downside is that who here works with AI stuff or has worked with AI art before online? Raise your hand. None of you have done AI art like on your phone where it says, do you want to look like Scooby-Doo or whatever? And so you put it in. None of you have ever done that?
Well, I'm proud of you.
I think you're liars. But whether you have or not, that is huge in the art world. So that becomes a big stumbling block for us as graphic designers to make money as well. So again, we're talking about some negatives. These are some of the pitfalls. It doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't create art. It doesn't mean we shouldn't do that. But again, our motivation can't be the paycheck necessarily. And so, granted, I am making a paycheck working with a video game company creating music for their video games and making trailers for them and doing work for them. And that's how I figured out, oh, okay, well, no longer is selling a CD gonna make me some money, but making music for this video game company, I can still make music, I can still do that, and I can still create silly, stupid songs like A Girl Named Disco.
And it's almost like that stuff funds this.
Absolutely.
So,
which it always has.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's just, that's more of a reality now than it even was for us in the 90s and the 2000s.
Yeah, I am the same way. I made more as a musician the year I had a commercial, music in a commercial, than I did probably all the others combined.
Big pop.
Yeah, it was a big payday, but it was because it was being played in a commercial every hour.
Side note, your teacher sold a song for a lot of money, and he got a big payday, and it was to Papa John's Pizza. Pretty dope. And he made money. So I thought, and I love to bake cookies. Like, I love to bake cookies. You wouldn't know it by my spelt figure, but I love to eat fresh cookies. So I wrote this song called Cookie Time, and my whole focus is Nabisco. Nabisco! I want to sell cookies to a cookie company, and I wrote a banger. It's a cookie banger. And that's going to come out in 2025, and my whole goal is to pretend I'm you and sell that song to Nabisco.
I mean, if it's not them, there's plenty of
I know, Keebler, it doesn't matter.
All it takes is one.
I want elves, I want cookie, I want the little squishy guys, I want cookies.
So what would you say for you is success in this industry? I know it's a tough question.
I used to think success, so when I was in Conspiracy of Thought, we were touring, and so that was the first band I was in. We were touring across the country. We were on like, I don't know, we had like 40 or 50 radio stations across the country that were playing us. And we were getting to open for some really big bands at the time and do work, including actually when the band Linkin Park first started out, we were playing with them. But, you know, that wasn't really success. We didn't make the money. We didn't, you know, get to the next level. What I realized was that success was about doing a cheesy disco song, having a complete blast. Did you guys watch this video yesterday for this song?
Yeah.
So, which I edited that video at home. We all just did green screens at our house, which is why, you know, it's only from here up, because we had small screens to work with. But, and then putting that thing out has been just pure joy. It's been really cool. It's making people's day. It's making the rounds in social media. We're starting to get radio stations to pick up the songs. And joy for me, or the payoff for me, has to do with being able to connect with people, being able to connect with you guys, being able to connect with fans that are around the country or around the world. And because of the internet and because of the way that things are now, that connectivity, and the web has gotten much bigger, even though local fans and things have gotten smaller because of.
Yeah.
So you have to be if you're going to be an artist, guys, it has to be about your journey. Your journey. If you don't find joy in that journey, if you're not like, I love what I do, this is so awesome. You know, if that's not the thing, then
Do something else.
Yeah,
'Cause
honestly.
there are easier ways to make money.
Oh, every way is easier to make money than this. So,
What qualities would you say, or what skills do you think you need to be successful as an independent? And whether it be music or
well, you
art.
have to be the best, some of the best musicians in the world. Definitely not. No, in fact, more than that, more than being the best musician, you have to be totally on your grind. You have to be willing to be on your hustle all the time, which means you are focused on, you know, sending out flyers online, you know, you're making art, you're trying to connect with people, you're going onto social media, you're pushing, and your numbers don't have to be huge. Your numbers could be totally small, but you could still be making an impact. But you have to be there. You have to respond when people are like messaging you. You have to create relationships. And actually, one thing that was true when we were playing in the 90s to now is about creating relationships. And so if you're not willing to create relationships online, if you're not willing to talk with people, then you're not going to be successful.
I think that's huge. That's something that I've not only seen in music, but also in the comic book world.
Oh yeah.
We have what we call our super fans all around the country. Wherever we go to a different show, whether it be New York or in Seattle or whatever, it's that connection that we've had with people one-on-one or even online that keeps them coming back. And we have people that will buy anything that we put out.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's for kids, if it's for adults, if it's violent, if it's funny, if it's music. They don't care. They want to support your brand because they believe in you as a creator. And I think that relationship is the key to that. You have to be good to people. You have to be willing to listen to them. When they talk about some random anime that you could not care less about, it's that relationship of that give and take. It's not just take. You have to give back to them as well.
And as an artist, what you guys want to do is for people to see your stuff or hear your stuff. And so that is about relationship. You know, it's about you sharing something and putting something out there. Even if it's whack, even if it's cheesy, even if it doesn't seem like it's like all that cool, you're gonna put yourself out there. And you will get rejected. And God, Lord knows that there are trolls everywhere. I mean, I worked with Blizzard, so it's World of Warcraft, the troll, and then there's also Call of Duty. The worst of the trolls, the trollest of the trolls are in there, you know, ready to tear you down. So for a while, the band Songhammer was putting up music. They were putting up our music videos actually on the World of Warcraft launcher. So you go in, you're gonna launch, you're gonna play World of Warcraft, and on the homepage is a Songhammer video. And so people were just, I wish you would, stuff your head into your shoes and go, I wish you would. There was some bad stuff, actually. It was really bad.
And it's not only online. Like,
Oh, no.
I've had people, like, literally the last con I was at, a lady picked up my book, one of the novels, and, seemed like she was genuinely, like, wanting to know about it.
Right.
And, she flipped through a little bit, she closed it, she says, you need an editor, and walked away. And I'm like, really? You just said that to me face to face? Like, who the hell are you? Like, where's your book? Like, what have you done?
She didn't even read the book.
No, didn't.
Yeah.
She just like flipped a couple pages and like, you need an editor.
Troll.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
People are more likely to give you negativity than they are positivity. And you gotta find those people that will give you that positive stuff as well.
You were talking about negatives earlier. One of the negatives, obviously, is people trolling on you and people dunking on you and just trying to get into your headspace. You have to just be willing to let it go and also not argue with them.
Yeah.
If you sit there arguing with people online, how many people have like won an argument online? There's nobody.
No.
Because it's just like,
Everybody just ends up irritated.
and angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What keeps you going?
Cocoa Pebbles.
That's what it is?
Yeah.
That's why you keep doing what you do?
No.
Because, I mean, you are, I would say, I'm guessing around 50?
I'm 52 years old.
Oh, I'm older than you.
That makes me old, but not as old as him. Yeah, actually, so the last EP that I put out about a year and a half ago is called I Got Old. And the song, the title track is I Got Old.
You ever duct tape to tape, cassette to cassette, then you're the old school. You ever say funky fresh, or yo that's deaf, then you're the old school. You ever rock British nights, black and white so tight, then you're the old school. You ever bomb rappers delight, or shout dynamite, then you're the really old school. What you gonna do when the days go away? I'ma shave it on down, make music all day. What you gonna do when the hands turn gray? They already gray, babe. What you trying to say? I got old. No way. Way. I got old. Say what? What? I got old. Hey, one more time. I got old. Hey,
So did you guys watch that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, and it's true. I mean that the whole song is about the fact that I'm old. What motivates me, or what was your question?
What makes you keep doing it? Because it is a lot of work. It's hard.
My wife asks me this sometimes.
Yeah.
She's like, why would you keep doing this? Well, for one, actually, I do get a paycheck now from Lethos, and so that was a good motivator. But I mean, it's been a long minute, for me to get to the point where I can get that paycheck. And so I think that the big motivator, again, is about the journey. So for me,
There you go. You have to touch.
does it do it on this side too?
I don't know. I think so. Yeah, maybe just one finger.
Look at this handsome guy. Oh wait,
You gotta hit pause.
that was awesome. This is the technology. This is good. This shows you how old I am. How does this work? Do you kids have a computer? So, what motivates me is doing this. Is being a lame-o and being this guy who can do this. For one thing, if you don't love not just creating art, but if you don't love the art you create, you got to be a little narcissistic, and you have to say, "That looks awesome. I'm looking great in a tiger skin shirt with this." And so you have to think that's cool. And so that's part of the motivation. But the other part of the motivation is me being an idiot makes somebody's day.
Yeah.
And as a musician, musician, and you could talk to people. Actually, we were talking about Pharrell earlier, and that's a great example. Why does somebody who writes, you know, the music for Drop It Like It's Hot, or writes the music, you know, which is Snoop Dogg, and then you know, do all this stuff, but then what his biggest song ever is Happy,
Yeah.
which is freaking phenomenal. And so his motivation is he wants to make people happy. He wants to connect with people. He wants to make joy. And this is what makes joy for me, is being able to create art that makes people. We deal with a lot of crap in our lives. I mean, we deal, all of us. And I mean, then you have situations right now, like we got a hurricane in Florida, you know, there's wars and this and that and the other thing. And so we have all of these things going on in the world around us. We need a little bit of a break. And this, to me, is the motivation. This is the break, is trying to bring people some joy and happiness and laugh at the idiot jumping around in an orange suit.
What do you hope to accomplish going forward? What have you not done that you'd like to do?
Somebody asked me that in an interview recently. Freeform jazz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. It is the one art form that I haven't, you know, pushed into.
Well, I know when we all start out, it's like, I want to make a record.
Right.
I want to go in the studio and put out an album.
Okay, that's
And
it.
then it's like, I want to make a video.
Right.
I want to go on tour.
Yeah.
I want to do, you know, yada yada.
Right.
I want to win awards. At some point, you just go, I've done a lot of that.
Yeah.
What do I want to do? You did a rock opera.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
stupid as it is.
but you did it.
Yeah.
And I, you know, that's one thing I try to tell these guys is the people who are insane enough or determined enough to make something happen are the ones that will, number one, be happier because they did it and they won't have that regret.
Right.
It might turn out to be totally goofy as hell, or it might be the most amazing thing anybody's ever heard, but you did it. So, what do you hope to accomplish still?
So, what I hope to accomplish is I want to be able to continue, for one thing, I want to be able to continue creating the music that I love. And whether that be like a song like this, that's this kind of like club-ish, you know, mix with a little bit of hip-hop and a little bit of, you know, all kinds of different stuff. I want to be able to continue. I want to be able to, again, continue to perform. I love performing. I love getting in front of an audience and singing, you know, stupid, wacky songs that make people laugh and get people together. I want to be able to have a life that is filled with music, that's filled with art, that's filled with joy. And there's no reason why any artist can't have that life. Because whether you're working, whether your grind is McDonald's, whether your grind is, you know, working at some kind of graphics company or doing whatever, you can always do this. And so I will always do this, just like you will always do what you do.
Yeah.
It might not be our main bread and butter, you know, and granted, again, I am super blessed to be working for a video game company and making music. I mean, that's really not the norm. And so, but this is what I do want to be doing.
But I think that happened because you grind and because you
It
work
was
on
because of all
stuff.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
What advice would you give these knuckleheads, especially the ones that don't pay attention when you're talking? If they wanted to, not necessarily music, but you know, just be a DIY artist, wanted to make a living making some sort of art, because it is hard.
The biggest advice that I can give you, and this is one that everyone, I've heard Chuck D from Public Enemy say this, I've actually heard Pharrell say this, I've heard people like Snoop Dogg say this, is that you don't stop. You know, you don't stop making art. You don't stop making whatever the art form is, whether it's music, whether it's graphics, whatever. And actually, I know so many artists and so many musicians particularly who played in bands, and then they got to this point where they didn't make it, quote unquote, and then they stopped. And so they just decided that, whatever the magic line was for them, and granted, maybe that line was sanity, I don't know, but they decided that they were going to be done. And my advice to you is don't stop making art, ever. I mean, we all need art, and even if it's just for you, even if it's just to put this ridiculous thing on and, you know, kiss at the camera, whatever the thing may be, you know, I don't give up. And again, the journey has to be what you guys are in for. It has to be, oh, I love making art, I love sharing art, I love doing that. If that's the case, you never lose. You will never lose. So
we're kind of quickly running out of time, but you know how to use Photoshop, you know how to do Logic, which is the recording program, you know how to do Final Cut Pro. How do you learn all these programs? Because I mean, these guys are kind of in a special situation. We didn't have Photoshop to begin with.
Oh no.
We were like drawing stuff and cutting out pictures and
We
all
were
that.
making the punk rock flyers.
Punk
where
rock
we
flyers.
would actually cut things out and put them on and then
Yeah.
photocopy them.
So it's a different world. These guys actually have a place where they can learn the latest technology.
Your resources are freaking amazing. I was just talking to Mr. Thayer about that. The way that I learned was I got a Mac, like for music, I got a Mac, it has GarageBand on it, which is free. I wrote and recorded the entire rock opera that I did on the Mac for free. And then I exported those tracks, took them to a local professional recording studio, and we remixed it. But all of the tracking, all the production, all the work was done at home for free on that, because I just said, I have this tool, I think I can do it. I've been recording, I was like 8 or 9 full albums, you know, that I had recorded in studios by then. I thought, I think I can do this. Turns out I wasn't all that great. I'm glad I went to another studio to help me at first, but that's how I started. And I started by going online to YouTube and saying, how do I record a song on GarageBand? And guess what? There's a bazillion people telling you how to do it. And so I DIY'd it.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing with Photoshop and Pixlr and doing those kind of things. And with Final Cut, I literally sat with guys who were editing the video. I watched them do it.
Yeah.
And after the 5th or so video that I had done, I thought, I think I can do this. It's basically a lot like GarageBand, and I had moved on to Logic. I said it's the same thing. It's just visuals stacked instead of music.
Instead of audio tracks,
Yeah.
they're just videos.
Yeah.
Or pictures or text. Or
And I taught myself.
So I think that's something that I really try to impress upon these guys, and they most of them get it,
Right.
because they're doing it at home on their iPads
Right.
or on their computers or
And
their
they're doing
phones.
it here.
The resources are out there for you to learn to do anything. Like if you wanted to, you could learn all of the Adobe programs because you have Gmetrics. You could go on and just watch the videos and learn how to use any of those programs. You have like the rest of this year to do that for free.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, everything I've ever learned, I basically learned either by playing with it or by watching somebody else
Yeah.
or by looking at tutorials. Every program.
Do you guys have any questions?
That's where I was headed.
Oh,
I seen in one of the photos you with the lead singer of System of a Down. How was that?
so what happened was, when I was in the band Conspiracy of Thought, that was that touring band, we did shows for a radio station called KPFK, which is a station out of Los Angeles. And Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine and Serge Tankian from System of a Down, they had a radio program on that station called The Axis of Justice.
Oh, yeah.
And so they were playing our music along with a bunch of other bands. And so a different radio station that had us in rotation, the band Conspiracy of Thought, said, hey, it would be fun if you interviewed Serge Tankian at one of his shows. So he was opening for the Foo Fighters, and so I got to go and meet Dave Grohl that day, which was really cool. But I also got to interview Serge Tankian so it was a musician interviewing a musician, which was really cool. So that's how that came about. And he is so cool. He's a sweet dude, man. And he's very obviously passionate about what he believes in. And we hit it off. It was really cool. I've met him a couple times. as well as Tom Morello.
Other questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
So farthest you've gone for music videos?
The farthest I've traveled for a music video?
Like, do you travel like for a music video, or do you record like as you travel?
That's a great question. Usually music videos are I tend to film locally, partly because I want to rep the IE. So like we did this video with Songhammer where we were like riding horses and we're chasing people with hammers and we were idiots. And so it was a 2-day shoot. We filmed in Redlands, we filmed in Lake Arrowhead, we filmed here in San Bernardino. And so, but I have a video, a Benjiphonic video called Lazy Days, and I filmed in Hilo, Hawaii.
Top down, fun in the sun. Another sweet song, another hard one. Day tripping, just slipping away. This is how we do on those lazy days. God bless 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 those lazy days. This is how we do on those lazy days.
It's because I went to Hilo, Hawaii, and I was like, this is the gorgeous, most wonderful place on the planet. And so I thought, how could I not film a music video while I'm here? And so we filmed a music
What'd
video.
you use?
I used my phone.
Exactly.
And I set my phone so that it was high definition. I did that, and there's so many great technologies. Actually, you guys, this whole video was all filmed with phones. So this video where, I'm in outer space, I'm in wherever, all of this, we filmed with our phones, and we obviously bumped up our phones to 4K, we did all that kind of stuff. I was able to take out the green screens, do all this. We did use some professional lighting, but these guys are in Seattle, Washington. I'm here in Riverside, California, and I've never met him, but I've done two songs with him and now a music video. So that's a great question. You can film almost anywhere now, which is really cool.
I pointed it out, the video you did guerrilla style in Vegas.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, and
And
you
during
didn't
the
get
pandemic.
permits and all that. Oh, it was during the pandemic.
So you guys saw Omega Funk 10,000 then?
Yeah.
So that where I'm dancing at all the weird roadside places, and then we get to Vegas, and COVID had just hit. So like no one was in Vegas. It was literally ghost town. So we go down and we're filming. The cameraman is with us, but we were kind of dressed like we were like working at like a table in Vegas. But he walks with the camera on, and we walked right through Treasure Island Casino. We were on no one stopped us.
Alright, this joint is stupid fly. Alright, this joint is stupid fly.
10,000.
Just another member of the organized noise. The get down groove, my weapon of choice. I lay it at the heads of all the ladies and the boys while I'm jumping to the rhythm of the beat. You ever heard a time turkey talk about chicken? Y'all getting funky to the rhymes I'm kicking. My tongue is getting up from all the chicken finger licking, and I'm jumping to the rhythm of the beat. 10,000 worldwide. This joint is stupid. Mega funk, mega funk, omega funk. Good God, it's me. I am your fantasy. Mega funk, omega funk.
Because it was the pandemic. Now, like if you walked in with a camera, like they'd be like, no, nah, they'd stop you or whatever. But it was a very unique moment. So, yeah.
Now, and I think that's one of the things that I respect most about you is that you absolutely embody the do-it-yourself attitude, and I totally relate to that.
I have what's called punk rock values.
Yes.
And so in punk rock music, it's all about doing everything yourself. That means artwork, that means videos, that means the music, whatever it is. And so I embody the DIY.
Any last questions?
Yeah.
We got only a couple minutes left.
Yes. Like this. That is a great question. With the Benji Phonic project, I always have like a pad of paper like everywhere, like one in my car. I carry this man bag around sometimes. I keep one in there. I keep them all over the house, and then I'll be like, cooking or something like that, and I'll be like, it would be funny to do a song about being about disco or whatever, just to do some stupid thing. And so I write down a funny idea. Or I have a song called Spy versus Spy. Is that the bell?
That's your 2-minute warning.
Okay. And so I thought, oh, this would be funny, to write. And so I basically like write down any weird ideas that I might have, and that's where they start. So I'm constantly trying to think of ideas. That's it. But that inspiration can come from anything.
I think we need to probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
But hey, thank you so much for coming in. We'll definitely have you back.
Thank you guys for not being too bored. You're awesome.
All right, give it up for Ben Stewart.